There are people in this world who are going to try to take from you your energy, your joy, your peace. And you know what? You can't let them. You have to guard your spirit, your peace, and your future. The enemy will use people to wear you down, to distract you from your purpose, to drain your energy. But I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be that way. It's time to draw a line, to set boundaries that protect your soul and keep you focused on the mission God has for your life. Let me break it down for you. There are 6 types of people you need to recognize and distance yourself from. You need to set boundaries with them now before they wear you thin and derail your journey. You've probably encountered someone in your life who seems to always be around when things are going well, only to vanish when things take a turn. Or maybe you know someone whose presence feels like a drain on your energy, leaving you exhausted after every conversation, every interaction. These people, whether intentional or not, are what I call energy vampires. And the truth is, they're everywhere. They might be in your circle, at work, or even in your family. But one thing is for sure, you cannot afford to let them drain your energy. It's crucial that we recognize how our time and energy are our most valuable resources. You can lose money and get it back. You can lose material things and replace them. But time and energy, once gone, they're gone. And if you're not careful, the wrong people can leave you feeling empty and worn out, taking more than they give. That's why you must learn to protect yourself from those who come into your life only to drain your energy. Energy vampires are often disguised as needy friends, co-workers, or family members. They might not even realize what they're doing, but they feed off your emotional state, your resources, and your efforts. They thrive in situations where they can extract your focus, your support, or your sympathy, often leaving you feeling mentally, emotionally, and physically exhausted. It's almost as if you've given them a piece of yourself that you can't get back. These individuals often prey on your compassion, your desire to help, or your willingness to listen. You might think that being there for them is what a good person does, and it is, but not at the expense of your well-being. You cannot continue to pour from an empty cup. If you are constantly giving to others without replenishing your own energy, you'll eventually find yourself depleted, bitter, or resentful. You might even start to feel trapped, as though your own needs are secondary to those of others. It's easy to feel obligated to help these people. After all, they might have been a part of your life for years, or maybe you've shared deep, meaningful moments together. But just because someone has been in your life for a long time doesn't mean they should continue to take up space in your mental, emotional, and physical energy. You have the right to protect your peace and guard your energy, no matter how long someone has been in your life. One of the toughest parts of dealing with energy vampires is recognizing that they don't always look like villains. Sometimes they come in the form of loved ones, friends, or colleagues who simply have a lot going on in their lives and need support. It's natural to want to help those we care about, but we have to acknowledge that we can't do everything for everyone. You can be a kind person, a compassionate person, but you also have to be a person who knows when to say no, when to step back, and when to prioritize your own well-being. Energy vampires are often deeply unaware of how their behavior impacts others. They may have their own struggles, insecurities, or unresolved issues that drive them to seek constant validation, attention, or reassurance. But that doesn't make it your responsibility to fix them. You can be supportive without being consumed. You can offer a listening ear without losing yourself in their emotional turmoil. Learning to recognize the signs of an energy vampire is key to protecting yourself. These individuals often bring drama, chaos, and negativity into your life. They may constantly complain, always talk about their problems, and never take responsibility for their actions or outcomes. They may focus only on what's going wrong in their lives, never giving any thought to what's going right. Their conversations may always be centered around their own needs, never acknowledging your struggles or triumphs. They'll pull you into their vortex of negativity, and before you know it, you'll find yourself drained, angry, or anxious, having absorbed all their stress and drama. One of the most insidious aspects of energy vampires is how they can manipulate your emotions. They might know just what to say to make you feel guilty or responsible for their feelings. They might play on your empathy, making you feel like you're the only one who understands them or the only one who can help them. But that's the trap. They'll try to convince you that they need you, but in reality, what they need is someone to listen to their endless complaints without offering solutions. Someone who will keep feeding their negative energy. At some point, you'll start to realize that the relationship has become one-sided. You'll start to feel like you're giving more than you're receiving. And you'll notice that when you try to share your own thoughts, feelings, or needs, they fall on deaf ears. These people will rarely offer support in return, and they may even become resentful when you set boundaries or try to prioritize your own well-being. They'll attempt to guilt trip you, make you feel selfish, or even accuse you of not caring about them anymore. But here's the reality. If someone is constantly taking from you without ever giving back, they're not a friend, they're not a partner, they're a drain. And you have every right to protect your energy and distance yourself from them. Setting boundaries isn't about cutting people off for no reason. It's about recognizing your worth and understanding that you have the right to live a life where your energy is respected and valued. You are not a bottomless well, and you should not allow anyone to treat you like one. This process of setting boundaries is not easy, especially when it involves people you care about, but it's necessary for your own growth and mental health. You cannot grow into the person you're meant to be if you're constantly pulled down by those who refuse to take responsibility for their own energy. And remember, setting boundaries doesn't mean you don't care about someone. It means you care enough about yourself to protect what you need in order to be your best self. When you allow someone to continually drain your energy, you're not only hurting yourself, you're hurting the other person too. You're teaching them that their behavior is acceptable, that they can take advantage of your kindness without consequence. By setting boundaries, you give them the opportunity to grow, take responsibility for their own energy, and maybe even realize the impact of their actions. At the same time, you're giving yourself the space you need to thrive. It's important to recognize that you don't owe anyone your time or energy, especially if they're not contributing to your well-being. You have the power to decide who gets to be a part of your life, and you should never feel guilty for choosing to protect your energy. It's not selfish, it's self-care. You're not responsible for other people's happiness, and you certainly shouldn't be sacrificing your own peace for the sake of someone else's emotional comfort. As you move forward, remember that protecting your energy is an ongoing process. It's about staying vigilant, recognizing when someone's presence in your life is no longer serving you, and being brave enough to make the necessary changes. It's about understanding that you deserve to be surrounded by people who uplift you, who add value to your life, and who respect the boundaries you set. And when you recognize an energy vampire in your life, you have the power to say, "This is not my responsibility. I will not allow you to drain me." You deserve peace. You deserve to thrive. And the only way to do that is by guarding your energy and protecting your peace at all costs. There's a certain kind of person who seems to always find something wrong. No matter how bright the day may be, they can always point out the cloud in the sky, the problem in every situation. These are the constant complainers, the individuals who seem to live their lives steeped in negativity. They focus on everything that's not right, everything that's unfair, everything that's disappointing. And if you're not careful, they'll drag you into that mindset, making you focus on the things that are going wrong instead of what's going right. The constant complainer doesn't just express frustration, they spread it. Every conversation with them is an invitation to join in their misery, to share their dissatisfaction. If you let them, they'll lead you into a cycle of negativity where no solution is ever enough, no success is ever celebrated, no victory is ever appreciated. And before you know it, you'll start to feel the weight of their complaints, and you'll find yourself focusing more on the bad than the good. This is where you must set the boundary. Now, I'm not saying that we should never listen to complaints or frustrations. Life can be difficult, and sometimes people just need to vent. We all have our moments where we need a sounding board, a friend to talk to. But there's a big difference between someone who is genuinely seeking support or advice and someone who is only interested in dwelling on what's wrong without any intention of making things better. The constant complainer doesn't want solutions, they just want to be heard in their misery. They want to dwell in the negative, and if you're not careful, they'll drag you down with them. It's important to recognize that constant complaining doesn't come from a place of seeking improvement. It comes from a place of stagnation, frustration, and a lack of accountability. The person who constantly complains is rarely looking for a way to change their circumstances. They've become so accustomed to focusing on wrong that they no longer believe anything can be different. They don't seek solutions. They seek validation for their negative view of the world. And that's where you have to make a choice. Are you going to buy into their negativity, or are you going to protect your own mindset and focus on what's good and possible in your life? Think about it for a moment. If you allow yourself to continually engage in these negative conversations, you'll start to think like them. You'll start to look for problems in your own life where there are none. You'll start to fixate on what's not working instead of appreciating the things that are. The constant complainer might even start to make you feel guilty for looking at the bright side of life, for being optimistic, or for making an effort to find solutions. They'll subtly or not so subtly suggest that you're ignoring reality, that you're being naive, or that you're somehow less connected to the truth of the situation. But the truth is, there's no value in wallowing in negativity. You can't build anything good when you're only focused on the problems. You can't move forward when all you see is what's wrong. Yes, challenges come up. Yes, life is tough at times, but there's always a way to make things better. Always a way to improve your situation. And focusing on problems without considering solutions is not just unhelpful, it's destructive. It holds you back, keeps you stuck, and keeps you in a state of helplessness. The longer you stay in that state, the harder it becomes to break free from it. This is where the boundary becomes critical. It's essential to set limits on how much time and energy you're willing to invest in these kinds of conversations. You need to recognize when the complaint cycle is starting to drag you down and pull away before it's too late. You need to understand that you don't owe anyone your attention when all they're doing is reinforcing negativity. You can listen with empathy, but you don't have to engage in the negativity. You can offer support without falling into the trap of focusing only on the bad. In order to set this boundary, you need to first recognize when the conversation is no longer productive. When you find yourself listening to the same complaints over and over, when the person isn't willing to make any changes, and when the conversation doesn't go anywhere but in circles, it's time to step back. It's not your responsibility to fix everything for them, nor is it your job to keep them in a cycle of frustration. You have a choice. You can either join them in the complaint or focus on the solution. One of the most powerful things you can do is shift the focus of the conversation. If someone is constantly complaining about their situation, instead of just nodding along or getting pulled into their misery, try offering a different perspective. Ask them what they can do to improve the situation. Encourage them to focus on what they can change, what they can control. In some cases, this shift may be enough to break the cycle of negativity and help them see that there's always a way forward, even if it's not immediately obvious. But if they resist, if they continue to dwell in their complaints without any intention of making changes, you have to set that boundary. You need to politely disengage from the conversation. It might be uncomfortable at first, especially if the complainer is someone close to you, but it's necessary for your mental well-being. You can't be a part of every toxic conversation, especially when it starts to feel like a one-sided burden. And you certainly don't have to tolerate someone dragging you down just because they're stuck in their own negativity. You also need to recognize that people who constantly complain often look for someone to validate their frustration. They want someone to agree with them, to say, yes, this situation is terrible, or yes, this person is wrong. But what they don't realize is that constantly reinforcing their negativity only deepens their dissatisfaction. It doesn't help them move forward, and it doesn't help you either. The more you agree with their complaints, the more you feed into their sense of powerlessness, and the more you get sucked into their emotional state. It's important to remember that your mindset is your responsibility. You can't let someone else's negativity define how you see the world. You can't let their constant complaints cloud your vision of hope, possibility, and progress. You're not obligated to carry their emotional baggage, and you certainly don't have to engage in every conversation that pulls you into that cycle. You have the power to say, I'm not going to dwell on the negative. I'm going to find a way to focus on what's good, what's possible, and what can be done. By setting boundaries with constant complainers, you protect your own peace of mind and your mental health. You create space for positivity, for solutions, and for growth. You allow yourself to stay focused on the things that matter most: your own goals, your own happiness, and your own well-being. When you stop getting caught up in the negativity of others, you free yourself to live a life that's more fulfilling, more hopeful, and more focused on the possibilities that lie ahead. And most importantly, you give yourself permission to rise above the complaints and stand strong in your own belief that the world is full of good things waiting to be discovered. There are people in this world who seem to go out of their way to make you doubt yourself. They're the ones who, when you share your dreams, tell you why it won't work. They're the ones who, instead of encouraging you to pursue your goals, find a way to make you question your abilities. These are the dream killers, the individuals who may not even realize they're doing it, but in their words and actions, they chip away at your confidence and your vision. They don't just criticize your dreams, they make you believe that your dreams are too big, too unrealistic, or simply impossible. If you let them, they'll keep you from stepping into the life you're meant to live. The dream killer often comes in the form of a well-meaning friend, a family member, or even a coworker who just wants to help. They may say things like, "That's too risky," or "You need to be more realistic." They might even tell you that you don't have the right skills or experience to make your dream come true. What they're really doing is projecting their own fears, doubts, and limitations onto you. They're telling you what they believe is possible for themselves, and in the process, they're trying to limit what you believe is possible for you. But here's the thing. Just because someone can't see your vision doesn't mean it isn't real. Just because someone else doesn't have the courage to chase their dreams doesn't mean you should stop chasing yours. One of the most damaging things about the dream killer is that they don't always say these things out of malice. Often they're speaking from a place of their own fear and insecurity. They've been conditioned to play it safe, to take the comfortable route, to avoid risks at all costs. And so when they see you stepping out of your comfort zone, when they see you striving for something bigger than what they can imagine for themselves, they become uncomfortable. They may fear that your success will shine a light on their own failure to pursue their dreams. Or they may simply feel threatened by your boldness, your courage to take a leap. Instead of offering support, they offer doubt and caution. This is where you have to make a conscious decision. Will you listen to their fears, or will you trust your own instincts, your own dreams? Will you allow their doubts to become your own, Or will you continue to push forward, believing that the vision you have is valid, worthy, and possible? The dream killer wants you to play small, to stay in your comfort zone, because that's where they feel safe. But you were not put on this earth to play small. You were created for greatness, for boldness, for the kind of life that inspires others to believe in the impossible. And here's the thing. When someone tells you that your dreams are too big, too unrealistic, or too impossible, they're revealing something about themselves, not about you. Their lack of belief in your dream says more about their own limitations than it does about your potential. When you share your dreams with a dream killer, they often feel the need to tear it down because it forces them to confront their own unfulfilled desires, their own dreams that have been pushed aside or forgotten. They're not attacking you. They're attacking the part of themselves that they've buried deep down, the part that still longs for something more but is too afraid to go after it. You see, the dream killer often operates out of fear. They fear the unknown, the discomfort that comes with pursuing something bigger than what they've known. They fear failure, rejection, and the possibility of not succeeding. And because they haven't found the courage to face those fears, they try to project them onto you. They try to convince you that your dreams aren't worth pursuing because they don't want you to feel the sting of rejection or failure that they've internalized for themselves. But you are not them. Your dreams are not their fears. Your purpose is not their doubt. And while they may not be able to see your vision, that doesn't mean your vision isn't real. In order to move past the dream killer's influence, you must first recognize them for what they are. These people are not bad people. They may care about you. They may even love you. But they are operating from a place of their own limitations. And when you share your dreams with them, you may unintentionally trigger their own unresolved issues. Recognizing this allows you to release any anger or frustration you might feel toward them and understand that their doubt has nothing to do with your worth or ability. It's simply a reflection of their own fear. Once you understand this, you can start to distance yourself from the negativity they bring. You can choose not to share your dreams with those who are unlikely to encourage you. You can limit your time with people who constantly question or criticize your aspirations. The truth is, not everyone deserves to hear your dreams. Not everyone will be able to support your vision, and that's okay. But the people who truly matter in your life, those who see the potential in you, those who believe in your ability to rise, those are the people you should lean on. It's also important to recognize that your dreams are valid, no matter how big or impossible they may seem to others. Just because someone doesn't understand your vision doesn't mean it's wrong. Just because they can't see how your dream will come to life doesn't mean you shouldn't try. You have to trust your intuition, your passion, and your faith that what you're working toward is possible. Don't let the fear and doubt of others dictate your path. You are the only one who can walk your journey, and only you can decide how far you're willing to go to make your dreams a reality. At some point, you'll realize that the dream killer's voice becomes quieter in your mind. The more you believe in yourself, the less power their doubt holds over you. You'll start to tune out their negativity and focus on the positive voices, the encouraging voices that remind you of who you are and what you're capable of. But you won't get there until you make a conscious decision to stop allowing their doubts to take root in your heart. You have to protect your dreams with everything you've got. When you believe in your own vision, when you trust that your dreams are worth fighting for, no one can take that away from you, not even the dream killer. It's also important to recognize that some of the most successful people in the world were once told that their dreams were impossible. They were told that what they envisioned could never happen. And yet they chose to push through, to take the risk, to follow their passion despite the naysayers. They didn't let the voices of doubt drown out their own. And you must do the same. Your dreams are not too big. Your goals are not out of reach. You are not too late. The only thing standing between you and your dreams is the belief that they're possible and the willingness to take the steps required to make them happen. When you encounter a dream killer, thank them for their perspective, but stay true to your vision. Recognize their doubt for what it is, fear and insecurity, and don't let it stop you from moving forward. Set the boundaries you need to protect your dreams and be intentional about who you allow into your circle. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, who encourage you, who lift you up. And when you encounter doubt, whether from others or from within yourself, remind yourself that your dreams are worth pursuing, no matter how impossible they may seem. There are some people who, no matter how hard you try, will always find fault with your actions. They criticize, judge, and condemn with no understanding or support. These individuals thrive on pointing out your mistakes, calling attention to your shortcomings, and making you feel like you're never quite enough. These are the critics, the people who want to tear you down instead of lift you up. Their words can be sharp. Their opinions can be harsh. And if you let them, their negativity will seep into your self-esteem, making you question your worth. But what you have to realize is that their criticism isn't a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of them. It's important to understand that the critics in your life are not the ones who define you. They don't determine your value, your potential, or your place in the world. You do. Criticism can be one of the most damaging forces in your life, but only if you allow it to have power over you. It's not the criticism itself that hurts, it's the meaning you attach to it. When you allow the critic to influence your thoughts and feelings, you let their negativity define your reality. You start to believe that their judgment holds weight, that their opinions are true, and that their harsh words are an accurate reflection of who you are. This is where the danger lies. The critic wants you to believe that their viewpoint is the only one that matters, that their voice is the only voice you need to hear. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Every time you listen to the critic, you're allowing them to control your narrative. You're allowing their limited perspective to shape your view of yourself and your abilities. The critic's judgment doesn't come from a place of understanding or growth. It comes from a place of insecurity, bitterness, or a desire to feel superior. They often feel threatened by your success or your potential, and so they try to bring you to level by highlighting your flaws. But the truth is, the critic's words have no power over you unless you give them that power. If you let the critic's harsh opinions dictate your sense of self-worth, then you're giving them control of your life. And that's not a place you want to be. When the critic speaks, they're often coming from a place of projection. They criticize you for things they don't like in themselves. They judge you for the very things they are struggling with in their own lives. If they see you succeeding in an area where they feel inadequate, they might try to tear you down to make themselves feel better. If they see you doing something they wish they could do, they might criticize your actions to make themselves feel justified in their own inability to pursue their goals. The critic's comments often have nothing to do with you personally. They're a reflection of their own inner turmoil, jealousy, or dissatisfaction with their own life. It's important to understand that criticism doesn't define you. Your value isn't determined by someone else's judgment of your actions. Just because someone criticizes your decisions, your goals, or your dreams doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. In fact, it might just mean that you're doing something right. The critic often focuses on the negative, ignoring the bigger picture and the hard work you've put in to get to where you are. They may point out your mistakes, but they rarely acknowledge your successes. They may dwell on what's not working, but they fail to recognize all that you've accomplished. And that's why you can't let their words define you. You have to be the one who measures your progress, who recognizes your growth, and who takes pride in your achievements. When faced with criticism, you have to remind yourself that no one knows your journey like you do. No one has walked the same path, faced the same obstacles, or fought the same battles. Only you truly understand the effort, the struggle, and the sacrifices it took to get to where you are today. The critic doesn't know your story. They haven't been with you through the late nights, the setbacks, the doubts, or the moments of victory. So their opinion is incomplete at best and irrelevant at worst. You can acknowledge their criticism without internalizing it. You can listen to what they have to say, evaluate it for any constructive feedback, and then move on. But you don't have to let their judgment determine your worth. One of the most important things to remember when dealing with critics is that their opinions don't hold any weight unless you let them. The critic doesn't have the power to change who you are or what you're capable of. Only you have that power. Your worth isn't contingent upon their approval or their disapproval. You have the right to make mistakes, to grow, and to evolve without being held hostage by someone else's criticism. It's important to set boundaries with critics, to protect your peace of mind, and to keep moving forward despite their harsh words. You don't owe them anything, especially not your self-esteem. You also need to recognize that not all criticism is created equal. Some criticism can be helpful. Constructive feedback from people who genuinely care about you and want to see you improve is valuable. But when the criticism comes from a place of malice, jealousy, or insecurity, it's not worth your time. It's just noise, empty words meant to keep you from reaching your potential. The critic wants you to stay in your place, to stop pushing yourself, to stop growing. But you're not here to play small. You're here to rise, to challenge yourself, and to pursue your dreams, no matter how difficult the path may be. When you encounter a critic, it's important to stay focused on your own vision. Keep your eyes on your goals, and remember why you started in the first place. Don't let their judgment cloud your sense of purpose. Stay grounded in your values, in your passion, and in your belief in yourself. Understand that their opinions are not facts. They're just one perspective, and it's not one you have to accept. You don't need validation from the critic. You don't need their approval. What you need is your own belief in your abilities, your own commitment to your vision, and your own understanding of your worth. And if you find that a critic's words are affecting you more than they should, it's okay to take a step back. Protect your mental and emotional space. Limit your interactions with people who are constantly negative or critical, and instead surround yourself with those who lift you up, who encourage you, and who believe in your potential. Remember, you can't control other people's opinions, but you can control how much weight you give them. You have the power to choose who you listen to, who you allow into your inner circle, and who gets to influence your mindset. Ultimately, the critic's role in your life is to teach you resilience. Every time you face criticism and refuse to let it define you, you build your confidence. Every time you choose to stay true to your vision despite the doubters, you strengthen your resolve. Every time you let go of the critic's negativity, you take another step toward becoming the person you are always meant to be. The critic is not your enemy. They're simply an obstacle to overcome on your journey. And when you rise above their judgment, you prove to yourself just how powerful and unstoppable you truly are. There are individuals in our lives who seem to be in a constant state of negativity. They complain about everything about the weather, the traffic, their job, their relationships, and even the smallest inconveniences. No matter what is happening in their lives, they always seem to be focused on what's wrong, never on what's right. They carry a heavy burden of pessimism and bring a sense of heaviness wherever they go. These are the perpetual complainers, and if you aren't careful, their energy can quickly drag you down into the same state of negativity. They are the people who rarely see the bright side of anything and who often try to drag everyone else down with them. The problem with these types of people is that they feed on negativity. They thrive on pointing out flaws, emphasizing problems, and magnifying issues. It's as though they cannot function unless they are focusing on something that's wrong, even if it's something small or insignificant. For some, Complaining is a way to seek attention. It's a way to connect with others by venting their frustrations or seeking sympathy. But even when the complaints are rooted in genuine issues, the constant focus on the negative can be draining. It creates a toxic environment where all conversations seem to revolve around problems rather than solutions, where people can't talk about their successes or joys without someone coming in to bring everything back down. Over time, this kind of constant negativity can erode your mental and emotional well-being because you start to internalize the idea that everything is always wrong, that nothing is ever enough, and that no matter how much you try, things will never get better. One of the most dangerous aspects of a perpetual complainer is their ability to affect your mindset. If you allow yourself to spend too much time around someone who constantly focuses on the negative, it can start to cloud your own perspective. You might find yourself starting to complain more about your own life too, or feeling drained by the energy around you. The more time you spend listening to negativity, the more you may begin to absorb it, making it harder for you to see the good in your life. It's important to set boundaries with critics, to protect your peace of mind, and to keep moving forward despite their harsh words. You don't owe them anything, especially not your self-esteem. You also need to recognize that not all criticism is created equal. Some criticism can be helpful. Constructive feedback from people who genuinely care about you and want to see you improve is valuable. But when the criticism comes from a place of malice, jealousy, or insecurity, it's not worth your time. It's just noise, empty words meant to keep you from reaching your potential. The critic wants you to stay in your place, to stop pushing yourself, to stop growing. But you're not here to play small. You're here to rise, to challenge yourself, and to pursue your dreams, no matter how difficult the path may be. When you encounter a critic, it's important to stay focused on your own vision. Keep your eyes on your goals, and remember why you started in the first place. Don't let their judgment cloud your sense of purpose. Stay grounded in your values, in your passion, and in your belief in yourself. Understand that their opinions are not facts. They're just one perspective, and it's not one you have to accept. You don't need validation from the critic. You don't need their approval. What you need is your own belief in your abilities, your own commitment to your vision, and your own understanding of your worth. And if you find that a critic's words are affecting you more than they should, it's okay to take a step back. Protect your mental and emotional space. Limit your interactions with people who are constantly negative or critical, and instead surround yourself with those who lift you up, who encourage you, and who believe in your potential. Remember, you can't control other people's opinions, but you can control how much weight you give them. You have the power to choose who you listen to, who you allow into your inner circle, and who gets to influence your mindset. Ultimately, the critic's role in your life is to teach you resilience. Every time you face criticism and refuse to let it define you, you build your confidence. Every time you choose to stay true to your vision despite the doubters, you strengthen your resolve. Every time you let go of the critic's negativity, you take another step toward becoming the person you are always meant to be. The critic is not your enemy. They're simply an obstacle to overcome on your journey. And when you rise above their judgment, you prove to yourself just how powerful and unstoppable you truly are. There are individuals in our lives who seem to be in a constant state of negativity. They complain about everything about the weather, the traffic, their job, their relationships, and even the smallest inconveniences. No matter what is happening in their lives, they always seem to be focused on what's wrong, never on what's right. They carry a heavy burden of pessimism and bring a sense of heaviness wherever they go. These are the perpetual complainers, and if you aren't careful, their energy can quickly drag you down into the same state of negativity. They are the people who rarely see the bright side of anything and who often try to drag everyone else down with them. The problem with these types of people is that they feed on negativity. They thrive on pointing out flaws, emphasizing problems, and magnifying issues. It's as though they cannot function unless they are focusing on something that's wrong, even if it's something small or insignificant. For some, complaining is a way to seek attention. It's a way to connect with others by venting their frustrations or seeking sympathy. But even when the complaints are rooted in genuine issues, the constant focus on the negative can be draining. It creates a toxic environment where all conversations seem to revolve around problems rather than solutions, where people can't talk about their successes or joys without someone coming in to bring everything back down. Over time, this kind of constant negativity can erode your mental and emotional well-being because you start to internalize the idea that everything is always wrong, that nothing is ever enough, and that no matter how much you try, things will never get better. One of the most dangerous aspects of a perpetual complainer is their ability to affect your mindset. If you allow yourself to spend too much time around someone who constantly focuses on the negative, it can start to cloud your own perspective. You might find yourself starting to complain more about your own life too, or feeling drained by the energy around you. The more time you spend listening to negativity, the more you may begin to absorb it, making it harder for you to see the good in your life. There are individuals in your life who may, intentionally or unintentionally, try to bring you down. They thrive on creating chaos, drama, and confusion in your world. They are the drama makers, the ones who always seem to be involved in some sort of conflict, the ones whose lives are a constant whirlwind of turmoil. Drama makers are the people who are never content unless there's some form of chaos surrounding them. And if they can't create it in their own lives, they will do their best to drag you into their storm. They often have a flair for exaggerating, blowing situations out of proportion, and turning small issues into major crises. In the process, they not only cause stress for themselves, but they drag everyone around them into their whirlwind of drama. What makes these individuals so draining is that they never seem to find peace. They are in a constant state of conflict, whether it's with themselves, with others, or with the world in general. They have a way of turning every conversation into a dramatic saga. Even the simplest issues seem to escalate into massive confrontations or elaborate stories that involve everyone in their circle. Their need for attention and validation often comes through these dramatic situations. By creating or exaggerating problems, they get to be the center of attention, and for them, that's all that matters. They thrive on the chaos, and they feed off the energy of those around them. The more emotional and dramatic the situation, the more they are able to manipulate and control the narrative. One of the most difficult things about dealing with drama makers is that they can make you feel as though you're responsible for their drama. They often expect you to react emotionally, to get swept up in their conflict, and to give them the validation they crave. They may try to manipulate your feelings, making you feel guilty for not being involved in their problems or accusing you of not caring. They know how to push your buttons, how to make you feel like you need to get involved in their turmoil, and how to get your attention through emotional manipulation. But it's important to recognize that their drama is not your responsibility. Their need for attention and validation is not something you need to feed into. It's to solve or carry. When dealing with drama makers, it's crucial to recognize the role they play in your life and set clear boundaries. You don't have to engage in every conflict they present to you. You don't have to listen to every exaggerated story they tell, and you certainly don't have to get caught up in the emotional intensity of their situations. Drama makers are often masters of distraction. They will pull you into their world of chaos so that you become too preoccupied with their issues to focus on your own. They will try to convince you that you need to get involved, that you need to take sides, or that you need to help them fix their problems. But you have to understand that this is a form of manipulation. Their desire for drama is not about resolving anything. It's about keeping their world in a constant state of turmoil so that they can feel important, needed, or significant. The most effective way to protect yourself from the drama is by setting clear, firm boundaries. You have to be intentional about not allowing their chaos to become a part of your life. This might mean limiting your exposure to them, avoiding certain topics of conversation, or simply walking away when the drama begins. You can offer your support when appropriate, but you cannot allow yourself to become emotionally entangled in their problems. You have to learn to detach from the drama to protect your own peace and mental well-being. This requires being honest with yourself about the nature of your relationship with the drama maker. Are they someone you truly want in your life, or are they someone who consistently brings stress and negativity? Recognizing the difference is key to maintaining your own boundaries. Another important strategy when dealing with drama makers is learning how to disengage. Drama makers will often try to pull you into their emotional turmoil by creating a sense of urgency or importance around their issue. They will try to get you to respond immediately, to become emotionally invested, or to feel as though you have to act right away. But the truth is, you don't owe them that reaction. You have the right to take a step back, to process the situation before responding, and to evaluate whether or not it's worth your time and energy. The more you react emotionally to their drama, the more control they have over your peace of mind. By learning to disengage, you regain control of your own emotions and prevent the drama maker from manipulating your feelings. Disengaging doesn't mean you don't care. It simply means that you recognize their need for drama is not your problem to fix. It means that you're choosing not to get caught up in their storm. You can acknowledge their feelings without becoming emotionally involved in their situation. You can listen to them without taking on their emotional burden. When you disengage from the drama, you allow yourself the space to focus on your own life and your own priorities. You don't have to give up your time and energy to someone who is more focused on creating problems than solving them. It's also essential to recognize that drama makers often thrive on attention. They will escalate their behavior when they feel they aren't getting the response they want. If you ignore their attempts to stir up conflict, if you refuse to get emotionally involved in their crises, they may try to escalate things to get a reaction. They might raise their voice, play the victim, or try to manipulate you by making you feel guilty. In these moments, it's important to stand firm in your boundaries. Don't let their attempts to draw you into their drama work. You don't need to feel guilty for protecting your peace. You don't need to justify your decision to disengage. You are allowed to choose how you spend your energy and who you allow into your life. One of the most important things to remember when dealing with drama makers is that you cannot control their behavior. You can't fix their problems, you can't change their need for drama, and you can't make them see things from your perspective. What you can control is your own response. You have the power to choose how you engage with them, how much time you spend with them, and whether or not you allow their drama to affect your life. You have the power to protect your mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being by setting clear boundaries, disengaging from their chaos, and refusing to let their storm become your own. By doing so, you create space for peace, clarity, and focus in your life. You take back control of your energy, and you stop allowing someone else's need for drama to dictate your happiness. You start to create a life that is free from unnecessary chaos, where you are able to focus on what truly matters. The less you allow the drama makers to dictate your emotional state, the more you can enjoy the calm, peaceful moments that come from living on your own terms. Throughout our lives, we encounter a wide range of people, each bringing their own energy, attitudes, and behaviors into our world. Some of these people uplift us, inspire us, and encourage us to be better versions of ourselves, while others, unfortunately, have a far more draining effect. These are the individuals who, without even realizing it, can take from us more than we can afford to give. They are the negative influences, the energy vampires, and the drama creators who seek to sap our strength, cloud our clarity, and derail our peace of mind. It is essential for us to recognize who these individuals are and to take the necessary steps to protect ourselves from their toxic influence. Our mental and emotional well-being is too important to allow anyone to undermine it with their negativity, drama, or manipulation. Setting boundaries with these people is not only a matter of self-preservation, it's an act of self-respect. Boundaries are not walls. They are the framework that allows us to interact with others in a way that is healthy and sustainable. By setting clear, firm boundaries, we empower ourselves to choose the types of relationships and interactions we engage in. We take control over how much energy we give others and how much we reserve for ourselves. We stop allowing other people's drama and negativity to infiltrate our lives and dictate our emotional state. This isn't about rejecting or cutting people out. It's about recognizing that we have the right to protect our peace and mental health, even if it means stepping back from relationships that drain us. When we deal with the perpetual complainers, the energy drainers, and the drama makers, it's important to understand that their actions are not a reflection of us. They're simply playing out their own patterns, their own struggles, and their own needs. It's not our job to fix them, and it's not our responsibility to carry their burdens. We can offer support, compassion, and understanding, but we cannot allow their issues to become our own. The most important thing we can do is to focus on our own emotional and mental health. By doing so, we not only protect ourselves, but also ensure that we have the energy and clarity to continue being a source of light and positivity for others. The ability to set boundaries is a vital skill that many of us need to cultivate in order to live fulfilled, healthy lives. We don't have to let negative people control our emotional space. We don't have to entertain drama or complaints that do nothing but bring us down. We don't have to allow our energy to be drained by others who are unwilling to take responsibility for their own actions and emotions. Setting boundaries is a reflection of our value for ourselves and our lives. It's a reminder that we deserve peace, joy, and positivity. When we set boundaries with negative people, we give ourselves the opportunity to build relationships that nurture us, relationships that bring us closer to our goals, and relationships that support our growth. In a world that often feels overwhelming and chaotic, protecting our peace is one of the most important things we can do. We cannot afford to let the negativity, drama, and toxicity of others define our lives. We have the power to control our environment and the relationships we choose to foster. By consciously choosing to limit our exposure to negative influences, we allow ourselves to grow and flourish in a way that we otherwise couldn't. It's not selfish to protect your energy. It's necessary. It's not unkind to set boundaries with those who drain you. It's an act of self-love. As we move forward in life, we must remind ourselves that we are the sum of the people we surround ourselves with. The relationships we cultivate shape our attitudes, our energy, and our outlook on life. The more we choose to surround ourselves with individuals who uplift us, who encourage us, and who help us become better versions of ourselves, the more we can focus on what truly matters to our purpose, our happiness, and our growth. By setting boundaries and protecting our energy from negative people, we create the space needed for positivity, creativity, and abundance to enter our lives. In the end, it is not about rejecting others or isolating ourselves. It's about recognizing the power of our own energy and the importance of safeguarding it. We cannot give from an empty cup, and we cannot pour into others if we are constantly being drained. By learning to say no, by choosing not to engage in negativity, and by setting firm boundaries, we ensure that we have the capacity to give the best version of ourselves to the world. Our peace is priceless, our time is valuable, and our energy is sacred. When we respect our own boundaries, we make space for the things and the people that truly matter. And we create the foundation for a life that is peaceful, fulfilling, and authentic. So as we move forward, let us remember that we have the power to choose the people and situations we allow into our lives. Let us remember that we are not obligated to carry the weight of others' negativity, drama, or dysfunction. Let us remember we are worthy of peace, positivity, and support. Setting boundaries is not a form of rejection. It is a form of self-care. It is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. By setting boundaries, we take control of our emotional landscape and empower ourselves to create the life we desire, one that is filled with clarity, focus, and the energy we need to thrive. Now listen, setting these boundaries doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you wise. It makes you a person of vision, of purpose. You cannot allow anyone or anything to derail your calling, your destiny. There will be people who try to hold you back, but you're stronger than that. You have been given power. You have been given authority over your own life. You owe it to yourself to protect your energy. You owe it to your future to protect your peace. Set the boundaries that will keep you focused on your path and align with your purpose. I want you to walk out of here today with strength, with courage, knowing that your peace is not negotiable. You've got greatness ahead of you. Don't let anyone rob you of that. So I'm going to say it again. Don't let these 6 types of negative people drain your energy. Set those boundaries. Now, you've got this. Thank you.